Presented by Wilson, and a beautiful afternoon here in the Bay Area as we get set for number 3 Oklahoma and number 21 Kentucky. Field defensively behind Mariah Lopez, the junior from Saugus, California, 32-1 in her first 2 seasons. Behind the pages, Parker and Lowry, and her head coach Patty Gasso told us yesterday this is her time to take over as the number 1 pitcher. And here's the lineup she will face for Kentucky. It features Abby Cheek in that 3 spot, who by the end of the season, Michelle, could be their all-time leader in home runs and runs batted in.
Cheek knows how to bash it. Johnson knows how to get on board, and that's really what the Wildcats are looking for, trying to get some stuff done. They weren't very strong out of the box, or out of the chute, I should say, last weekend. 2-3, dropped a couple of games they probably shouldn't have, so mixing up the lineup a little bit to try to put some more runs up on the board.
Yeah, that 2-3 record, those 3 losses all by 1 run. It's a Kentucky program that has been a top 16 seed in the NCAA tournament 3 years in a row. And they are picked to finish in the middle of the pack in the Southeastern Conference this year. All 13 teams went to the tournament a year ago. Johnson gets a hold of one, deep to right, back and gone. Lauren Johnson with the leadoff solo home run.
Welcome to the St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational, taking that pitch out of the yard. It's a curveball that just does not get inside. Take a look at this pitch. It is on the inside corner. It doesn't have any run. And Johnson just rotates, gets the hands extended, and just drives this ball out of the park. Look at the location again, right over the white part of the plate. You got to bend that ball a little bit more. Johnson takes it yard.
Cats grab the early lead. Despite their struggles last week, they were hitting the ball out of the park at one of the best clips, actually the best clip in school history. 7 home runs last weekend, and they start off here with another one. Katie Reed, the senior shortstop from St. Louis, preseason all SEC selection. Reed goes small ball, safe at first. How about that? A home run and a bunt to open up the day.
Katie Reed knows how to play the game. She is smart. In fact, SEC Academic Player of the Year last year, so she's going to read the defense. She sees immediately everybody's back. A dinger has just given up. She lays that ball down. Perfect zone. Elam, the freshman, coming out from behind the dish, just not in time. The corners have to crash that a little bit better for Oklahoma if they want to try to get out speedy runners.
And now one of the top power hitters in Kentucky history, Abby Cheek. Senior from Inman, South Carolina. 2nd in home runs, runs batted in, slugging percentage in her career. She's already drawn 8 walks, so you know opposing pitchers very selective with what they throw to Abby. And much respect to her game. And our first look at their new pitching coach this year as Jen Rocha, who won a couple of national championships as a Florida assistant, now back here in Oklahoma where she once played for Patty Gasso.
Talk about a lot of the coaching moves at the head coaching position, but this was a big pickup for Patty Gasso when Melissa Lombardi went up to Oregon, opened up that pitching position. I'm sure right now that coach is just talking to Lopez and saying, hey, look, we got to locate, just work on focusing on getting your pitches, put the ball on the ground. We've got that very solid defense behind Mariah Lopez.
There's Rocha, who head coach Patty Gasso gives a lot of leeway to. There's a lot of trust, there's a lot of respect there, and there's a ton of turnover in this pitching staff that Rocha is dealing with this year. with the graduations of Paige Parker and Paige Lowry. who together won a national championship for Oklahoma a couple of years ago.
Well, Patty said last night that Mariah Lopez is ready to go. She has sat and watched the pages for the last 2 years. She's learned a lot. She is ready to be in that circle.
Catches the outside corner, 3-1. Abby Cheek taking all the way. Rachel liked the plate discipline that Abby showed last week, hoping that it will continue throughout the season, which could make her one of the most feared hitters in the game. It's ball 4. They'll throw down anyway. So 2 on with nobody out, already up 1-0. Let's check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, we just covered a game where the Texas pitcher, Miranda Ellis, who has been in the Women's College World Series, said that early in that game she was nervous. She said, I was throwing too tentative. I felt the nerves. This is a packed stadium. It is February. Teams are not used to pitching in front of a crowd like this on national TV. I definitely feel that the pitchers in this circle a little tense, a little nervous.
16 teams here, Holly. 11 of them in the top 25 this week. So a major step up in the competition.
On the gravity of the situation. Television, February, first time for our sport. It's got a postseason feel to it. You almost feel like, oh my gosh, this is the Women's College World Series in February.
Alex Martin had a good opening weekend that included a home run against Houston. Martin's the junior from McHenry, Illinois. She's probably going to see a lot of pitches batting behind Cheek in the lineup. This is one of the tweaks that Rachel Lawson has already made.
Well, she said, quite frankly, she thinks that Alex Martin has one of the best, if not the best, swing on the team and loves hitting her behind Cheek.
0-2 from Lopez. Got her to reach. 1 down.
Nice rise ball on the outside corner. Lopez is going to get a little wiggle. Look at the way she locates it. All about putting the ball in the corner. A little bit of cut out as it's rising up, and that's what you want. You can see the way Martins is going to chase that pitch out of the zone.
Number 5 hitter here is Jenny Shaper, senior from St. Louis. It's a very experienced Kentucky team that played in a super regional last year, lost to Oregon. They got 7 starters coming back.
Won game 1 of that super regional in Eugene.
Inside to Shaper, 1-1. Lopez in the mid to high 60s in the circle. Now you see Rachel Lawson, now in her 12th season, the winningest coach in Kentucky history, has a nice new contract extension through 2023. Shaper, hot shot to Sid Romero, steps on the bag, over to first, double play. Lauren Johnson with the solo home run to lead off the ball game. Kentucky with the 1-0 lead as we head to the bottom of the first. And Grace Ballman in the circle. She led Kentucky with 14 wins a year ago, and the sophomore from Hardin, Illinois will get the call after a solid freshman campaign a year ago. Yeah, here is the starting lineup, brought to you by St. Pete Clearwater for your 4-time national champion Oklahoma Sooners. And a group of seniors that has 2 titles and looking for a 3rd. Callie Clifton, the senior from Wayne, Oklahoma, now in the starting lineup for the 4th year in a row.
There's 4 seniors in the lineup occupying 4 of the top 5 spots. Putting the pressure on early, and that's one thing about this Oklahoma lineup. Over the last couple years, their success in the circle, obviously really good arms, but their ability to put big runs up on the board, take the pressure off the defense and the pitchers, has been a recipe that has come out of that oven in a very nice shape of a national championship or 2.
And Michelle, it's a team and probably a philosophy, since it's worked quite well. They don't mess around with the lefty slappers at the top of the lineup. They got 3 righties right out of the gate for Patty Gasso. It usually can field a fearsome lineup in that batter's box. Hall of Fame head coach, 4 titles, over 1,200 wins, and they have owned the Big 12. It got a little bit tougher this year with the addition of Mike White at Texas and an improved Oklahoma State team. along with Oklahoma and Baylor. That conference should be a lot of fun to watch. We'll have a bunch of those games for you on our ESPN coverage, which is over 1,200 games this year. 3-2 from Ballman. And the leadoff walk for Clifton. Here's the scouting report on Grace.
Ballman is going to throw the ball in the high to mid 60s. She likes to throw a drop, curve, rise combo. She'll throw all three of those pitches in any situation, and really that go-to pitch will change depending on the day. She'll stay down in the zone. What was interesting is earlier this year, last weekend, 5 home runs given up. All of last year she gave up just 9, so she's got to keep the ball in the park. You mostly do that by keeping the ball down in the zone, which she worked against Clifton, but she issued that walk.
And a big challenge right here, Jocelyn Allo, who hit 30 home runs a year ago in a freshman campaign that saw her claim first-team All-America honors. From Hauula, Hawaii, there is a calmness, a chill about her that her coach and this entire lineup sort of feed off of to keep them relaxed, and knowing certainly, Smitty, that with one swing of the bat she can change things dramatically. Early in the season, you're checking your cards, you're making sure you're seeing things properly, you're all on the same cheat sheet that so many of the teams use now on the wristbands, so that opponents can't steal the signs.
Allo just a sophomore, but I love the fact she doesn't know the signs of 2-0 count. Instead of guessing and thinking, well, maybe that was a hit and run, she calls timeout and goes down and asks coach. Well, those are smart decisions for young players.
And quickly, could be some activity in the Kentucky bullpen. That's in for a strike. Allo taking all the way, 3-1. That was Tatum Spangler who went down to the bullpen.
Ballman needs to come out and continues that pitch. That pitch was off speed, took a little bit off of it. Keep the ball low in the zone, off speed.
Infield pop up and drifting over into foul territory to make the catch is Mallory Payton. One down, a big get there for Kentucky.
Way to work herself back into that after being down 3-0 to a power hitter. Picking up that big out.
The other. Sydney Romero now stepping in, the senior from San Diego. Thought about the bunt. All-American last year, really was a force to be reckoned with at the plate. And one of the great things about Sydney is with all the numbers that she's put up, it's the small number that is so meaningful. She hardly ever strikes out. She's always going to put the ball in play, make something happen for you.
She can hit to all field. She has power. She'll drop a bunt. She's smart. She'll try to move the defense by what she's doing in the box. Hence, first pitch, showing a little bit of a sneaky bunt, try to pull the corners in. What that does is it opens up the 5-6 hole.
Holly?
Well, this is kind of neat. So Sierra Romero, who played at Michigan, is actually here coaching for for Oregon. She's over in the batting cages right now with the Oregon Ducks, and Sydney here at the plate. Her mom said, as soon as they get done at the batting cage, she might pop over here and take a look at her sister playing.
There's one deep back to the track and right, and at the wall making the catch is Lauren Johnson. Tagging up is Clifton to second. So with 2 outs, a runner in scoring position, and Romero put a scare into that one, but it stays in the yard.
Romero, just a lot of power. This Oklahoma team will challenge you, take the ball to the track.
Pale Aviu in the 4 spot, another one of this senior class. You've got 4 of them in the first 5 hitters in the lineup. Review, the senior from Oceanside, California, has really worked on her conditioning in the offseason with Shay Knighton on deck. The hero of the national championship from 2 years ago. They've been through a lot together, this group, and they are the winningest bunch in the country over the last 4 years.
Solid Review with that split grip, trying to get on top of the ball. You know, Beth, you talk about these seniors and how much they've done for this program, but it's their work ethic as well. You know, Romero steps in the bucket and almost drives the ball out of the yard opposite field. That comes from strength, conditioning. They continue to work hard. They don't rest on their laurels, the 2 national championships.
Got a chance to tie the ball game right here, and a slow roller to first. Peyton will gobble that up. And there's one stranded for Oklahoma. That Oklahoma, they lost the opener to Washington and then came back to beat Arizona State and to eliminate Florida before falling again to Washington in the national semifinals. And with Kaylani Ricketts looking on, so many of these players love coming back and being a part of this program.
Well, it was interesting what Patty Gasso told us as well, is that after they were bumped from the World Series, they were watching Florida State and how much fun they were having and how they were just in the groove, and they were like, hey, that's how we were our freshman and sophomore year. That senior class, they visibly could see it and realized they weren't there last year. They felt the gravity of the situation. And
57-5, undefeated in the conference, and the 12th Women's College World Series appearance. They've got 3 titles in the last 7 years. You could certainly talk about that being a dynasty.
Yep.
And then the other half of that coin is that parity has also arrived in college softball, with Florida State winning it all last year. 7 different national champs in the last 10 years.
Oh, and by the way, we'll have Oklahoma, Florida State tomorrow.
Way to go, Smitty. I'm fouled out of play. I'm so
schedule.
impressed. You are just the flow right into the next promo is spectacular. Got that matchup for you tomorrow afternoon on the U at 1 o'clock Eastern. Oklahoma and Florida State, winners of the last 3 trophies.
Well, that's a big part of this event. You know, that's why ESPN Events first owned and operated women's event for ESPN. There's a lot of pride that's going into this, a lot of great community service.
Good eye by Mallory Peyton, 6, 7, 8 in the lineup here. Peyton, the sophomore, first year in the starting lineup. And the strikeout for Lopez. That's the second for Mariah, 1 down.
Lopez with that curveball, you just can tell the way she's bending this, the body lean, the snap, getting that ball in the outside corner, and Peyton just swinging through it.
So she's worked for 2 years with Missy Lombardi, and then Missy moves on to take the Oregon head coaching job, and now she's working with Jen Rocha. She's got Kaylani Ricketts whispering in her ear. She's got Delaney Gorley, who is another grad assistant. Of course, played for Jen Rocha and Tim Walton at Florida. It's one heck of a dugout over there with all the amazing pitching minds. Pop up to short. Grace Lyons, who took over for Kelsey Arnold this year.
Well,
2 down.
And lefties, they're all lefties. Every national championship that Patty Gasso has won has been with a lefty in the circle. So, in the 2 you just named off, some of the best lefties in NCAA history, and Gorley and Ricketts. And those young kids can absorb. They could be a sponge and just
and of course,
soak it all up.
Lopez coming from the right side, but they did add the left-hander in G. Juarez, the big All-America transfer from Arizona State. as well as another righty, Shannon Sale. So they've restocked the pond. Here's Bailey Vick in the 8th spot in the lineup. Another split gripper. There's G. 26-6 last year, helping the Sun Devils get to the World Series. You'll be hearing us talk all weekend long about all the significant transfers around the softball world this year. Basically, the change, you used to have to ask for permission to leave. Now you can enter the transfer portal simply by saying, I am going to leave.
It's kind of like being a free agent for 3 weeks. See who has openings, scholarship money for you.
Fouled straight back by Vick. Bailey, the junior from Paducah, Kentucky, a .350 hitter last year with some speed on the base paths. Wildcats were in the World Series back in 2014. This is a pretty strong lineup they've got this year. Knocking on that door to try and get back recently.
I don't think it's going to be managing expectations for the Wildcats. They had that great season last year. They returned 7 of the 9 starters from that super regional. They went up to Eugene, and even though they're picked middle of the pack in the SEC, this is a team that can do a lot of damage, but they've got to be able to pitch well in the circle. It was a little bit of an Achilles heel last weekend.
Vick waits on it, drives that one out to left center, and tracking it down is Nicole Mendez. The Lauren Johnson home run, still the difference. UK up early from around St. Pete and Clearwater here at the Elite Invitational, presented by Wilson.
That was actually Pass-A-Grille.
Oh,
Pass-A-Grille down on the Intercoastal, but you were spot on there, Bimo.
This is a young lady right here that a lot of folks in America are hoping that she can stay healthy throughout the season, because when her knees hold up, she is one of the sweetest swings in the game. Hampered by her knees last year, she may be limited to more of a designated player role this year. But of course, she was the hero a couple seasons ago of their national championship in the big 17-inning win.
Well, and Beth, one of the things that you rarely see in baseball or softball are hitters using sneakers instead of cleats or spikes. It's just so hard to really get any momentum. You know, we really gain our power from our feet off of the ground, and she's just using a regular pair of sneakers just because she's had those knee problems.
Knighton reached down for it and back into left center, and coming over to make the catch is Sarah Rainwater. One down. Let's take you back to that 17-inning affair when she was the most outstanding player, and the home run that proved to be the game winner against the Gators in Game 1 of the Champ Series. And what a moment that was for Shea and the Sooners.
You mentioned it. Sweet swing, pitches on the inside corner. You can't hide from her, and that's the way a lot of this Oklahoma lineup is. They will turn on the inside pitch. They'll go with the outside pitch. They stay in their legs on off speeds.
Grace Green, the freshman, rips it right out to center, and right there to get it is Rainwater again. Two down.
This ball just tattooed right back up the middle. But Rainwater, great beat on it immediately. No hesitation out in center field. Tracks that down. That's a senior out there in center field.
That's going to please Rachel Lawson, who said after last weekend, we have it in us to shore up our defense. Going to make some plays. And we're going to find out an awful lot about the Cats, who come in at 2-3. They have 4 ranked opponents this weekend that they'll be playing against. So they could come out of here sub 500, Smitty, or they could come out already with a pretty good resume moving forward if they can knock off a couple.
We talked about their schedule last year. They had the #1 strength of schedule in the entire NCAA last year. This year, their SEC schedule is not quite as hard, so Rachel Lawson decided, hey, I'm going to schedule pretty tough in this preseason, this pre-conference season, and really test this team out.
Oklahoma, Texas, Oregon, and James Madison. They also will face UCLA and Washington in the non-conference. They do not have Florida, Tennessee, or Georgia, so there is a chance to make some hay in the conference. 3-0 to Mendez, and she draws the 2-out walk. Holly?
Well, you're talking about Kentucky's schedule and how hard they scheduled, because they knew their RPI would suffer a little later because their SEC schedule is not as difficult. And Rachel Lawson said the biggest challenge to that, though, is they have 11 freshmen. And so she wants a tough preseason, she wants a tough non-conference, but she also doesn't want those young players to lose their confidence. So it is important for them to come out there, a 1-0 lead right now in Oklahoma, but she wants these youngsters to be learning and improving, but also keep their confidence with this very difficult schedule.
Couple of young pitchers on the staff. Ballman, as good as she was as a freshman, now a sophomore. People know her. They know what to expect. You know, that's the major thing about being a pitcher, is that you've got to be a chameleon. You've got to change every year. If you're stagnant and you stay the same, you're going to be predictable. People are going to hit you.
It's in for a strike from Grace. 1-1. Lindsey Elam, the new catcher who took over for Leah Wodak this year. Expectation is she'll be a little bit better at the plate, as good as Leah was defensively. They're hoping Elam can provide a little more pop. Played in 16 games last year. Healthy cut at that at 64 miles an hour, 2-2. Slow roll to short, bobbled, and everybody's going to be safe. Mendez flying around at third. Runners on the corners with 2 outs. And the error on Katie Reed at short.
Well, and that's something you don't see very often. Katie Reed, typically very sure-gloved in that shortstop position, but the ball had a lot of English on it. Look at the way it's going to hop up. You can see the spin on it. It's miss-hit, and she just brings her head up a little bit, and this is early in the season mistakes. It's not staying through the ball, not keeping your head down. Mendez with a little bit of hesitation coming around second base, but still able to make it over to third. So,
boy, and a missed opportunity, Michelle, to get out of the inning, and that will bring up the #9 hitter, Grace Lyons. In the 5 games last weekend for Oklahoma, she drove in 4 runs. And another opportunity here for the Sooners to tie it up.
Well, and I'm sure Coach Lawson going out and saying, look, #9 hitter, you've got the seniors coming up. If you turn over the lineup for Oklahoma, this is the out. You go right at her. You don't even worry about who's on base. You go right at this hitter.
Clifton in the top of the order, right behind the freshman from Peoria, Arizona. Ballman coming right up at the letters, 0-1. Missed it high, 1-1. Had a chance to score in the first with Kelly Clifton in scoring position. Couldn't get her home. Two and one.
Well, and that's the pitch as a young pitcher that you have to hit. You get ahead with the strike, You come back with the rise ball a little bit more out of the zone. You don't get the batter to bite. You go to the outside corner. You got to make that pitch. You got to be in control.
Caught at third. Abby Cheat right there. 2 complete. And Kentucky with the lead over Oklahoma. Welcome back to the 2019 St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational presented by Wilson. Michelle Smith out there on the catamaran enjoying a lovely day out on the bay. Glad you are with us. It is opening day of ESPN's college softball season with over 1,200 games coming your way on the road to the Women's College World Series. Beth Mullins, Michelle Smith, Holly Rowe. Excited to have you with us. Tiffany Green and Amanda Scarborough on the call of the games earlier. LSU beat Oklahoma State and Texas run-ruled Cal. Couple of good storylines there. Can LSU continue to hit? That's always been an issue when they've gotten to the World Series. They've always had outstanding pitching. And of course Texas under new head coach Mike White and the 4 Oregon transfers that all looked good today. Shannon Rhodes a home run, Miranda Ellis with the win. And Kayla Kowalik grounds out, 1 down as the top of the order will come up here for Kentucky. There you go. Shelby Sinceri, another home run for LSU. She also picked up a save. Shelby Wickersham got the win, and then Ellis pitched a shutout, and Shannon Rhodes a 2-run home run for Texas. Still to come on ESPN3 later, Oklahoma and the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. And we are just getting started. Chock full of games all day Friday, all day Saturday, and will culminate on a primetime Sunday night game on ESPN2 with defending champion Florida State taking on Tennessee, one of the favorites in the SEC this year. Good off speed from Lopez.
Bottom drops out of that pitch, so it's off speed and also has that downward movement. Mix that in with that explosive rise ball, a fastball, and a curveball that she runs. She's hitting all those quadrants, settling down after that first inning home run she gave up.
To this batter right here, Lauren Johnson. Yanked one over the right field fence. Two and two, just away. Let's take you back to that home run swing.
Well, it's a pitch on the inside corner, and it just stays on the white of the plate. Johnson just gets extended, rotates on it, and pops it out. This at-bat, Johnson has seen nothing on the inside corner. It's been nothing but outside and off speed.
Out to throw down to record the out. Third strikeout for Lopez, 2 down.
Well, and that's the difference. She locates the pitch at a different speed and a different location. Look at the off speed. Look at the way it's going to rotate out of her hand in the opposite direction. It's a flip changeup, and Johnson just way out in front. That ball diving down into the dirt. Good job behind the dish by the freshman sophomore Elam to pick that up and get it down the line.
Elam got it. Easy work made of Katie Reed as Lopez has settled down nicely. 1-0 Kentucky, top of the order, coming around for the Sooners. Welcome back to Clearwater and the Eddie C. Moore Complex. That youngster getting a little extra work. We head to the bottom of the third and the top of the order for the Sooners, who trail 1-0. Oklahoma opened up last weekend 5-0. Find themselves behind here. Grace Ballman, second time around, though, that they'll have a look at Grace. Clifton walked her first time up, got into scoring position, and was left on base. 2 in scoring position through the first couple of innings for the Sooners. Michelle, this is one of the more feared stretches, I think, of any lineup in the country when you go Clifton, Allo, Romero, Aviu, Knighton.
Holy cow.
Pick your poison.
It is. It's about locating it, working from ahead. And when you're in that circle, you just have to focus on that one pitch at a time.
Clifton. Off the fence down the right field line. Patty Gasso likes to call her if there was a model player at Oklahoma, it would be the senior they call Cece. A huge Sooner fan growing up out of Wayne, Oklahoma, and a fabulous ambassador of this program.
Stepped on the field as a freshman and didn't know she belonged.
Yeah.
And coach had to tell her, look, you are here for a reason. You're good.
We didn't bring you here for nothing.
And look what she's done. I mean, she knows how to get on base. Those first two stats, your ability to take gifts from the pitcher, and then once she's on base, she knows how to move to the second base.
1-2 from Ballman. Drives that one back to the track and right, and spinning the defender around. Johnson lost it. Clifton motoring around to third. And the leadoff triple for the Sooners.
Application of the pitch just does not get in enough. Supposed to be on the inside corner, and Cece just drives it the opposite way. And look at the outfielder, Lauren Johnson, the way she goes back in the opposite direction. But you can see the flag. The wind is going to be blowing that ball back toward the line. So misplayed a little bit. And with the wind helping push that ball back away from her, so important to work on your footwork.
Jocelyn Allo.
Holly? Well, guys, I want you to know that the wind just barely came up. In the last 5 minutes, things have changed out here. It was bright and sunny. The clouds are starting to roll over. We're getting some wind down here on the field. So easy to misplay that ball because it wasn't windy like just a second before.
Yeah, and it's cooled off considerably. Got to keep your focus when you're facing Jocelyn. They got her to pop up her first time to the plate. For 30 home runs a year ago, tied the NCAA freshman record set by the all-timer Warren Chamberlain. Shaper with a nice block down in the dirt.
Shaper getting down to her knees, runner on third. Outstanding effort. Saves a run.
And for a strike at the hands. An impressive freshman campaign for the Big 12 and the National Freshman of the Year. 170 total bases in their 62 games. Takes a couple of strikes.
Yeah, unbelievable power. A great eye. Attacked her back underneath her hands, and she just moved off the plate a little bit through the adjustments.
Lost her. 2 on with nobody out. Second walk for Ballman, and it's the number 3 hitter, Sydney Romero.
Next batter, number 2, Sydney Romero.
Flew out to right field back in the first inning, and Patty Gasso will get a pinch runner on. Allo can re-enter. It'll be Reagan Rogers out there to run.
Running number 24, Reagan Rogers.
Senior from Blanchard, Oklahoma, who is in the mix right now, fighting with Nicole Mendez for the job out in center field. Early in this new season, so now it's Sydney Romero. Ballman comes in with the strike at 63 miles an hour. Romero gets a hold of that one deep to left, back, and it's gone. Sydney Romero with a 3-run home run for the Sooners.
And that's that senior leadership that we talked about, an 0-1 pitch that's a little bit too sweet, up in the zone. And you can see in the eyes, you look at the eyes of Romero, her head down, but she knows what she's looking for. Load, hands extended, bottom part of the bar, her launch angle outstanding. That's what gets that ball out of the yard over 200 feet on a big 8-foot fence.
The Clifton triple, Allo drawing the walk, and then Romero over the fence and left. And it's 3-1, Oklahoma. Pale Aviu grounded out back in the first.
It's almost like these seniors are on cue all the time. They know when to step up. They know that if I'm going to hit that home run, I'm not going to hit it in the first inning. I'm going to hit it in the third inning when we're down by a run.
And it could be a different one every night.
Yeah. And he's rising to the occasion.
Sydney's first home run of the season. As the Sooners in front. We're going to play 2 today. They'll come right back after this to meet up with Notre Dame. And we'll have their big showdown tomorrow afternoon at 1 Eastern against Florida State. Review, another slow roller to the right side. 1 down.
Next batter, number 17, Shay Knighton.
That'll bring up Shay Knighton. Shay flew out to center in the second inning. Takes a look at a strike.
This lineup is always learning. They're always adjusting and morphing. So their first time through the lineup, they didn't get a hit. Got a couple of people on base. But you can just tell immediately, second time through the lineup, the adjustments they make. Patty Gasso has them so dialed in that they know what they're looking for when they go up to the bat, and they're not afraid to swing the bat. So even if they get behind in the counter, they're down a little bit, they're looking for a specific pitch. And when it comes to them, they're rewarded.
One from Bowman. Slices that one into foul territory, and on the run and off the tip of the glove of Peyton. Yeah, the word that Patty Gasso does not shy away from at all is a professional approach.
Yep.
It is a maturity that they all bring to the plate, that they all bring to the batting cages every day.
It's that level of expectation in practice, day in and day out, and you see that. They reap the benefits of that. And constantly communicating with her team, constantly talking, feedback, sharing information, best practices, what's working, what's not.
That title in 2000 was such a groundbreaking performance, and then they struggled to stay on top. And it was a bit of a drought before they returned to the World Series. Nice backhanded play by Alex Martins, 2 down. And now, of course, with this group, and just prior to that, the Keilani Ricketts and Schultz and Gascoigne and that whole group, they've put together their own little dynasty with 3 titles in 7 years, and one of the favorites to get right back there to fight for another one this year.
Last pitch at 52 miles an hour from Ballman. I think that's the pitch she needs to use more often against a very aggressive lineup like Oklahoma. Use that pitch on the corners and velocity after you're ahead. So now she's working from ahead 0-2. At other times she's fallen behind. She gave up that home run to Romero on an 0-1 pitch.
All the scoring via the long ball here. Lauren Johnson, the solo shot. Sid Romero, the 3-run dinger. Pulled foul. Sooners, the preseason favorites for an 8th consecutive Big 12 title, with Texas, Baylor, and Oklahoma State right on their heels. There's a base hit, could be extras. Grace Green to second, and she'll slide in safely with a 2-out double for OU.
Talked about the importance pitching from ahead. This pitch 0-2, and it just is not where it needs to be located when you're that far ahead. But Green, she mashes this. Weight on that back leg allows the ball to travel deep into the zone and just crushes it the opposite way. These young kids for Oklahoma know how to swing it. And hey, when you have a senior class that swings it like they do, you just watch them and be like, I want to be like you.
She is a tall, lanky youngster, and we saw right there she can cover a lot of ground with her bat. Reaches out for the double. And in scoring position for Nicole Mendez, the junior from Houston, 300 hitter a year ago. Pops it up out under the grass and right. And Martins is back for it. Side retired. One left on, but not before the Sooners grab the lead. Thank you very much, Holly. 3 strikeouts, in fact, for Mariah Lopez, who gave up the home run in the first, then a single and a walk, but has shut the door since then, has retired 8 straight. And now will face the heart of the order in the dangerous Abby Cheek, who walked back in the first.
Cheek and Martins up for Kentucky, so this is what Coach was just talking about. She wants a couple of hitters to string it back together, get this Wildcat team back in the game.
Ooh, there's a look at that monstrous swat. Which leads me to believe, Smitty, that it will be sooner rather than later before she catches Brittany Cervantes. 6 home runs to career #1, 9 ribbies to career #1 in Kentucky history.
It's always been a force every time she swings the bat. Another one of those athletes that is engaged every single pitch, and that's why the results are outstanding day in and day out throughout your career.
Nibbles on the outside corner, 2-2.
It's a quality pitch by Lopez. She doesn't get it. She goes back to the same spot twice. First time, a little bit low. It's the ball, comes right back there, makes the adjustment, brings it up 2 inches, gets the call strike.
Wants to talk it over with Lindsey Elam. Lopez, the understudy of Paige Parker and Paige Lowry the last couple of seasons. She actually was the winner of Game 2 of the championship series in that 2017 championship campaign. And now to start out this new season, you'd have to consider her the ace of the staff right now, although they do have tremendous depth with G. Juarez and Shannon Sale, and possibly even Nicole Mendez in a little bit of a middle reliever role here early in the year. She chops it to second, and that gobbles up Clifton. And Abby safe at first to lead off the fourth. Well, 3 of the top 5 teams in college basketball are coming your way on ESPN Saturday night. First up at 6 Eastern, number 2 Duke, fresh off that 23-point comeback against Louisville. They'll take on NC State. And then at 8 Eastern, number 1 Tennessee, winners of 19 in a row, taking on the Kentucky Wildcats, who were stunned at home by LSU this week. It's all a part of the Sonic Blockbuster on Saturday. Romero bobbles, throws to first, not in time.
That's not something that you expect. We talk about Cheek and Martins, their ability to hit the ball, both hitting over 400, and then the Sooners come out and make 2 consecutive errors back to back. Kentucky trying to get something going.
So now they've got the tying run on base, the go-ahead coming up. Not in time to get Martins over at first. They're going to get a pinch runner on.
4 errors coming into today, 2 here this afternoon in this game.
That's J.C. Babbs over there to run for Martins, who can re-enter, and it's the number 5 hitter, Jenny Shaper. And that will get foul out of play behind the dugout. So a couple of errors in the inning. Oklahoma had 4 in their first 5 games last weekend. Shaper hit into a double play back in the first.
Well, Oklahoma continuing to go right underneath of her hands, trying to get her to do the same exact thing. That double play was a hard hit ground ball to Romero. She stepped on third, threw over to first. Similar situation. And that's the pitch that actually Shaper needs to go after. In this situation, you're thinking right side. I want to hit the ball to the right side, not the left side, because I am a double play potential if I go left side. That pitch on the middle outer corner, that's what you need to be looking for to drive the ball through that 3-4 hole.
1-2 from Lopez. Goes opposite and out to right field. Catch is made. Cheek will tag and head to third. That's Reagan Rogers, who's now out in right field making the catch. That'll bring up Mallory Payton. Runner goes to throw down the tag, and out at second is Babbs. Thrown out by Elam. 2 down.
I don't know that I like that particular play when you don't have a threat at third base to steal back home. So Cheek is not going to go anywhere, so Oklahoma is going to throw through. There's no question. They're not even attempting to cut. You can see the way that Lyons comes across, makes the tag. Clifton isn't anywhere close. Typically, a first and third situation, when you're worried about that runner at third, you'd be bringing a cut across. There's no cut in sight. That just shows that Oklahoma is like, hey, we're going straight down. Runner at third doesn't have the potential to come home.
You could have had the pinch runner over at third base there as well. Terrific throw right on the money from Elam. Tag applied by Lyons. (3-0) to Payton. Lopez now trying to pick up her teammates and cover up the 2 errors earlier in the inning. Sheik, who reached on an error down at third base, and the tying run at the plate in Mallory Payton. Romero just inside the line, the throw over to first, a collision at the bag, and Green was able to hold on for the 3rd out. Oklahoma gets out of it at a 3-1 lead. Romero fires over to first. Sooners on top, and we'll chat with Patty Gasso when we come back.
Welcome back to Clearwater. We are here with Oklahoma coach Patty Gasso. Sorry, I was a little late getting out here. Sorry.
No worries.
Coach Mariah Lopez, she gives up the home run, her first at bat, and she pulls herself together. How did she do that?
She's a veteran, although she hasn't really been on the mound a ton for us. She knows how to do it, so I'm really proud of her, and she's getting out of some big innings.
I know defense is your pride and joy. Tell me what you're seeing with your defense right now.
A little bit shaky, but what we just talked about, I mean, literally, is we made a couple flubs, but our catcher gets us out of it. Our first baseman gets us out of it. So it's going to happen. We just got to keep counting on each other to pick each other up. So we're good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for having us here. This is inaugural, and it is great, and we're absolutely honored to be here.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Patty and Holly, here at the St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational, presented by Wilson. Owned and operated by ESPN, the first venture into hosting a softball tournament. Kudos to everybody involved, and all the folks here in the St. Pete Clearwater area for taking great care of us. This is opening day of our ESPN softball coverage on the road to the Women's College World Series.
Yeah, there have been a lot of people working long days. City of Clearwater Parks and Rec, Mike Lockwood, Kevin Dunbar, ESPN events, the county of Pinellas County has really been a big asset. Tim Ramsberger and just, you know, his whole crew. It's just been a lot of fun, a lot of work. Meg Aronowitz on the production side. And then, of course, we get all of our ESPN friends here get to show up in town and put on this lovely event.
Good to see everybody. Well, it speaks to the continued growth of this sport, and a lot of our friends in the media covering the story that came out from the Department of Education that says softball is now a revenue-generating sport in college athletics. And the ratings certainly bear out the popularity and the growth of this game as Grace Ballman gets the strikeout of Lindsay Elam, 8-9, and then the top of the order here.
The next batter, number 3, Grace.
We got another special guest. This is a big tournament when folks like this show up, Holly Rowe.
I mean, we're talking about Tampa royalty right here. This is Florida State superstar Jessie Warren.
That's right.
And Jessie, you're from this area. What brings you back here to this tournament?
Well, Florida State is playing in the tournament, and just to come out here and watch the good competition. You know, there's some top 10 teams here, and I love softball, and I love watching softball. So just to be able to come out here and watch and get the different side of it is pretty cool.
Okay, so if you remember the last time we saw Jessie Warren, she was making the play from third base that was up for an SB, where she dove in, got the ball out of the bunt off the ground.
Oh, we're seeing it right now, Holly.
Oh,
there
good. We're seeing the replay right now. Perfect. That's because our producer, Joe Taylor's a rock star. But you are going to open up your own facility here in Tampa. How are you going to capitalize on what you brought to the Seminoles for young women here in this area?
Yeah, so me, Jessica Burrows, and Gianna DeSalvatore are actually opening up a facility here in the Tampa area. It's going to be called the Clubhouse. It should be opening up in the next month. But, you know, just being able to give back to young girls and inspire young girls. And me growing up, I didn't have that opportunity. So just being able to give back to them is really the goal of this whole thing.
Okay, so the big question I have about Florida State softball this year is how do they replace you? So how do you think they do it?
Yeah, I think, you know, they've got a good squad. Their lineup is they'll figure it out. Carson Gordon, Callie Herod, two big leaders for that team. And, you know, with Megan King in the circle and the new freshman faces, they've been pretty good for the past 5 games that I've seen. So I think the coaching staff is good at figuring things out like that. So I think they got it.
All right, that's your national champ, Jessie Warren, just, you know, here at our event. I'm just like starstruck. It's super cool.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Holly. Always good to see Jessie Warren and, of course, the Seminoles and Lonnie Alameda bringing that first national championship back to Tallahassee. You talk about perseverance, 10 trips
That's right.
to the World Series before getting it right and bringing it back to the state of Florida.
Well, and she talked about the royalty here in this Tampa Clearwater area. There's a lot of great ball players that come out of here. She mentioned Gianna De Salvador, who had a great career at UCLA. Jessica Burrows, who was also at Florida State a couple years ago. Elizabeth Mason, who plays for Florida State, had a couple of big home runs in the championship last year. So
Clearwater Bombers, right, have been legends
absolutely.
here for decades.
Herb
Yeah.
Dudley, you talk about Eddie Seymour was a manager.
Reaching forward and driving it right down the line and almost taking out our cameraman out there beyond the left field fence. Vinny's okay, and so is Cece with the home run for OU.
And this community loves softball. They love the long ball. Cece taking it out. See this pitch on the outside corner. She waits on it, stays in her legs. Look at the way the front foot is down. She stays balanced and gets the barrel to travel through that zone and pick this pitch up. It's an off speed, but she still gets it out of the park.
Batter number 78, Jocelyn.
Oklahoma bats coming alive these last 2 innings.
A triple and a home run for Callie Clifton at the top of the order. Second home run of the day for the Sooners and a 4-1 lead. Just to wrap up, Jessie Warren, we can you can see the Seminoles starting tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. on your ESPN app. It'll be Florida State, and then tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock, Florida State and this Oklahoma team on ESPNU. That's Florida State, Ohio State tomorrow morning. More activity in the bullpen. Megan Shorman, freshman righty from Missouri. This is Jocelyn Allo at the plate. 0 for 1 with a walk. Her pinch runner scored on the Romero 3-run home run in the 3rd inning. Sydney waiting her turn.
Getting back to talking about those Bombers, Beth, a lot of those young ladies, you know, they grow up in this area dreaming of being able to play on this field with these teams, and now it's happening. Another person I've worked a lot with on this event, Sarah Kirschberger, who's from the Visit St. Pete Clearwater side of things. You know, we always talk about the women's game and, you know, opportunities to build a stadium, something bigger and better. Always move the sport forward, which it's been doing in the collegiate ranks.
Well, the fans are quite frankly demanding it, right?
Yeah, I mean, look at
more and more tickets to be sold.
Tickets to be sold, the revenue factor that's involved now. And the folks that love to watch it on TV, my phone was blowing up this morning on the earlier games when Amanda and Tiffany were calling them, and people were like, we have 2 feet of snow on the ground, but we see softballs. They're like, we love it.
Ballman with the strikeout of Allo. But Oklahoma adds to the lead. Clifton gulps this one down the line and left. And a 4-1 OU lead. Welcome back to the 2019 St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational presented by Wilson. The Sunshine Skyway connecting Pinellas County down to Manatee County to the south and heading down Bradenton Way. We are in Clearwater right now at the Eddie Seymour Softball Complex. And a 4-1 lead for Oklahoma, powered by Sydney Romero and Callie Clifton home runs. Pinch hitter here is Kelsey Henson, 7, 8, and 9 in the order due up. The lone run for Kentucky, the solo home run to lead off the game from Lauren Johnson. They didn't have a base runner in the second and third innings. They got some assistance with a couple of Oklahoma errors and threatened in the fourth, but then Mariah Lopez shut them down just outside the bag.
In that big inning for Oklahoma as well. You could tell Coach Lawson, when Holly was talking to her, was not very happy with the fact that that triple by Kaylee Clifton was not caught out in right field. And she thought that Johnson could have had that. And it's interesting how one play can completely change the dynamic of an inning. And the younger athletes, you know, this is that time of the season that they're learning that. The learning curve is very steep.
Right after that was a walk to Allo, so you could make the argument that it should have been just a solo home run from Romero, and it would be a 2-1 game right now.
Yeah, it's tough to pitch that Allo in any situation, but with a runner on third, you're probably going to be a little careful. And then, yes, exactly, Beth, then you have those three seniors coming up in Romero, Aviu, and Knighton.
Right now, though, they're trying to solve the riddle that is Mariah Lopez, the reigning Big 12 pitcher of the week. And a strikeout there for Mariah. That is her fourth.
Well, Lopez is just attacking the entire zone. She's using the screwball away from the lefty. She'll get that ball to dive down, up, and away. A couple of different directions. She uses the rise ball. She'll throw the curve back underneath your hands as a lefty, so she's just really going right at all of these hitters. Look at the movement and the location on this pitch. So that's a curved ball in the inside corner. It looks like a fastball, and at the end it just cuts and dives in.
Mariah picked up a couple of wins last weekend for the Sooners, beat Syracuse and Charlotte, and spun a couple of one-hitters for the Sooners. Laying down the bunt, Romero, 2 down.
Romero with a better throw last inning. Error, and then the throw that bled back into the line that Grace Green had to go get. That pitch, excuse me, that throw off that bunt, a little bit cleaner.
Kayla Kowalik in the 9 spot in the order. You really like to see, too, a player like Mariah Lopez probably could have left and gone somewhere else. She was stuck behind 2 All-American pitchers, but stayed, wanted to be a part of this program, knew her opportunity would come eventually, and here it is for her in her junior season. Patty Gasso has talked about her confidence, how she has worked hard to prepare for this moment, how she's worked with Kaylani Ricketts, who is the grad assistant for the Sooners and a member of the U.S. national team, possibly the Olympic team that'll be going to Tokyo in 2 years, who has that national championship game-winning experience herself.
Well, Bethany, you brought up a great point with Lopez, is that she comes into Oklahoma as a freshman thinking, all right, I'm going to be the number 2 behind Paige Parker. And then all of a sudden you get the transfer of Paige Lowry. And now you're the number 3, maybe the number 4. But she hung in there, and she's now taking the bull by the horn. She's doing a great job leading this staff early in this 19th season.
The walk there to bring around the top of the order.
Next batter, number 9.
She also gives Patty Gasso the luxury of bringing G. Juarez along at her own pace. Of course, G transferring from Arizona State, but just a part of the program for a month and a half, just arriving in January. So,
and let's not forget that Juarez had hip surgery her senior year in high school, and then again when she was at Arizona State. So she's still, you know, trying to get back off those and really learn a new format. She was not very involved with the Sun Devil softball team during the fall.
All right, so let's see how Lopez deals with Johnson. She threw her inside, and Johnson took her out of the park. So the second at-bat, everything was slow and away as she gets the sign from Jen Rocha.
I love it. First pitch, she comes in with the screwball in the outside corner, doesn't get the call, comes right back with the off-speed pitch. That's what was so effective. She struck her out with the off-speed pitch in her second at-bat. I can guarantee you Johnson is going to see everything on the outside corner, low and slow.
Johnson skies that one out to right center, and almost a collision. Olo able to make the grab. Side is retired. Back to the third inning. Sydney Romero with 2 on and out of here off the bat of Sid. And that 1-0 deficit is gone. A 3-1 Sooner lead. They would add another run to it, and we show you that because Sid is set to lead off the inning, and she is the offensive MVP, brought to you by Wilson. With the 3-run home run in the third to change things around. They struggled against Grace Ballman in the first couple of innings through the batting order, and then everything changed the second time through, and it was Callie Clifton that got things rolling in the third, and another CC run in the fourth with the solo home run. And now Romero 3, 4, and 5 coming up. Foley of you on deck. The grounder to second. Alex Martin's over to first. 1 down, and Holly with a special Sooner guest.
Did you say Paige Lowry? Because I found her, and she's actually here watching games. You're watching your Oklahoma Sooners, of course, but why else are you here? It's very special.
My sister is playing for Minnesota, and I get to watch her for the first time in college, so really excited to do that.
Rachel Lowry will be playing for Minnesota starting tomorrow. We were just talking about how many pitchers Oklahoma lost. You know these young kids in the bullpen. Tell me what you know about these other pitchers in Mariah Lopez and Parker Conrad that you can tell us about.
They have been waiting for their time, and they're ready to go. I think they're really motivated, and they're showing it on the field, and I'm just really excited for them.
You talk a little bit about you're giving lessons. Now you're the one teaching other people how to pitch. What is something that you would tell these young pitchers to keep in mind in this moment in the circle?
I would say just to stay really present, not to put too much emotion into the present or the future or the past, but just stay really present in the game and just take as much emotion out of it as possible at the time, but celebrate great things and don't harp on the bad things too much.
All right. Whoa! Okay, we got to go back upstairs because that was a heck of a play right there.
That was awesome. We got an O from Holly Rowe.
Sports Center worthy on the snag at first base by Mallory Payton. 2 down.
Katie Reed going down at shortstop as well. This ball is just tattooed by Fale View. Look at the way she goes in that 5-6 hole. Long throw back across the infield, and Payton is going to reach out. I would never get up if I got into that position. that is some flexibility.
And I think Patty Gasso wants the umpires to make sure that Payton kept her foot on the base on that fabulous stretch. Scott Mayer, the home plate umpire. Danny Bowman at first. Cameron Ellison at third. Let's see the back foot right here. Well, it definitely goes flat to the ground. It's hard to gauge from that angle. That's a heck of a pickup by the coach there to I don't think they're going to be able to make that call from the naked eye right there. They're not going to turn it over.
No.
But that is close.
Looks like it's laying up against the side. The heel of it is.
2 down for Shea Knighton. Flew out to center in the second inning, grounded to the right side in the third. There's your lineup starting out the day tomorrow. Notre Dame and Tennessee. They're going to be a heck of a fun team to watch.
Ball
And
goes,
that one hit
yeah.
Knighton.
Looks like it went off the ground and popped up and got her.
Patty Gasso will definitely go to a pinch runner right here.
Hey, Beth.
Yes,
this
ma'am.
is Holly Rowe down on the field. I just wanted to see if you could, whoever is in charge of making GIFs, could we get that split catch at first, a GIF by the end of the day? Could we get somebody in the truck on that, please? I'd like to have that on my phone to be able to GIF to people.
We will get our social media folks right on that.
Okay, thank you.
That
Just
would,
asking.
that would be a spectacular GIF right there.
I mean,
wouldn't
come
it?
on.
D it up the way Mallory Payton D's this up. Grace Green is the batter. Audrey LaValle is the pinch runner. 5 spot here in the order. We might have to talk about that on the 7 Innings podcast next week. Of course, season 2 of the podcast is underway, folks, at 7 Innings Podcast on your Twitter and your Gram.
I believe we'll have some more fun coming up on Friday night.
Little hijinks. High fly ball in foul territory. And right there under it is Abby Cheek. 1 left on, side retired, 5 complete at a 4-1 at Florida. Congrats to the administrations, the athletic departments for stepping up and standing up for all the fans who are going to love watching softball, continuing to watch at those places.
Well, in the SEC tournament out at Texas A&M this spring.
Wait.
To be fabulous.
Davis Diamond.
Davis Diamond.
2, 3, and 4.
Amanda Scarborough, I know, is super excited about that as
Oh,
well.
the
She
fighting
went back there.
Scarboroughs, yeah.
She said you have to see it in person. She said as beautiful as the pictures are, you've got to see it in person.
Reed out to a view in left. 1 down. What you got, Holly Rowe? Shannon Sale is the Land O'Lakes, Florida native. All-Conference USA selection last year at Florida International. Then transferring to Oklahoma. And coming on in relief here to face Abby Cheek. Walked in the first, reached on an error in the 4th after Mariah Lopez went 5 1/3. 4 strikeouts and just the 2 hits, both of those in the first inning.
Lopez working herself out of some trouble. A couple of defensive miscues. Nice outing for her.
Checking out the pitching stats there with Parker Conrad, and Sale gets Cheek to pop it up. Lions has it 2 down. Here's what we can look forward to from Shannon Sale, the righty this year.
Shannon is the hardest thrower on the team. She's going to be in the upper 60s. She's going to locate pitches. And one of the things that I loved about Coach Gasso talking about Sale and her entire staff is she's going to be used in relief. She's got that really good ethic. She gets on the mound and just wants to dominate. She kind of has that moxie that she talks about. And so Patty says, look, I'm going to teach you all that mentality to be a starter, a middle, and a closer. And she does have that closer mentality coming in relief. She wants the ball. And with that velocity and that location, it's what should help make her effective.
It worked so well a couple years ago. I mean, Holly just talked to Paige Lowry, and when they won the championship a couple of years ago, it was often Lowry as the reliever / closer behind Parker as the starter. They've got the arms to try and do something like that at Oklahoma. We continue to move more towards the pitching staff. We've come a long way in the last decade. Of course, this is the 10-year anniversary of Washington's win, the national championship behind the dominant arm of Danielle Laurie. Martins pulls that one to the right side and loses the foot race to the bag. And the side is retired. A pitching change for Oklahoma, and still the 4-1 lead. And she'll be throwing to a new catcher, Kowalik, who was out in the outfield, will come behind the dish. 7, 8, 9 due up here for the Sooners. All kind of changes for Kentucky. When we talked yesterday with Rachel Lawson, she said, hey, one of the things, or a couple of the things you're looking at in February, what's your batting order supposed to look like at the end of the year? But also, how do we get our best 9 on the field, and where does that situate them defensively? And that versatility helps.
Well, that's what coaches look for nowadays when we do camps and clinics. We talk to young athletes, and they're so set. Now, I'm a second baseman. I'm only a second baseman. I'm like, no, you need to be a middle infielder. And then you probably should play some outfield as well. You know, it's multiple positions will make you a far better asset to your team and to your coach. Just understanding the game from different perspectives.
Mendez walked in the second, popped up in the third. She thought she had drawn the walk. Sooners will turn right around and play Notre Dame. That's coming up next on your app. The walk to Mendez. Fighting Irish probably have the best win so far of the young season. They upset second-ranked Washington last weekend.
Well, speaking of Washington, Gabby Plain in the circle for them. She'll be thrown for Team Australia in the Olympics in 2020, and got a lot of U.S. Olympians that are working hard. Let's take a look at that. You got 15 from the Pac-12 and the SEC.
It's a roster right now of 18, but they're going to have to cut that down to 15. And it includes 2 players still in the college game. Deja Mulipola at Arizona, Rachel Garcia at UCLA. And one of the big stories there, the 2 old dinosaurs, the 2 legends. Kat Osterman and Monica Abbott.
In my eyes, they're young. They should still be throwing.
They are dynamite. They've been so good for so long. Great chance for both of them to make the roster. They'll go to Tokyo in 2020. It's the return of softball to the Olympics.
Finally, Danielle Laurie as well, our own ESPN analyst, who will be throwing for Team Canada.
Aaliyah Flowers is the pinch hitter here for Elam in the 8th spot in the order.
And actually, this complex is where Team USA has trained a lot over the last couple of years, because the head coach of that team is Ken Erickson, who's the head coach of the Bulls, the USF Bulls over in Tampa. Possibility, who knows? Maybe we'll see Team USA next year at this event.
Oh, wouldn't
love to have an international flavor.
Preview.
Never know what's going to show up here. So, folks, if you're at home next year, you don't want to miss this. You should be here. Especially if there's 2 feet of snow on the ground.
Yes, where you are enjoying the action here, just down the street from America's best beaches. And through the right side, the hit and run was on. Mendez all the way around to third, and the pinch hit, base hit for Flores.
Flores going to get a pitch on the outside corner. Mendez runs well, so off on the pitch, and I love the fact that it's a pitch on the outside corner. She doesn't try to do too much with it. She just takes it and drives it right past Martins, the second baseman. And Mendez on the run easily. No hesitation at second, coming right over to Patty Gasso over at third.
Runners on the corners here with nobody out. Grace Lyons in the 9 spot. Grace is 0 for 2. A 3-run home run in the 3rd inning, Sydney Romero. A solo home run in the 4th inning, Callie Clifton. Tatum Spangler. The 2-0 pitch.
Holly? Oh, I love that Nicole Mendez just came around and slid face first into third base. No fear there. Think about this. In the fall, she was doing a little extra BP throwing for one of her teammates, and a ball came back and hit her on the cheek. She's had facial surgery. They had to go in and fix her cheek. She'll still have to have another surgery after the season to get it looking just right. But I love that. You get plunked in the face with the ball so hard it breaks your face, and you still have no fear coming back. That is a baller. Come on.
That is the
awesome
attitude. That's
right.
That's the way they roll. The hunger to win another national championship.
That's what makes this sport so special is these young ladies, you know, they work so hard on and off the field, and they do anything to continue to win. Very competitive, and it shows. Shows through the broadcast.
So a struggle here for Tatum Spangler coming on in relief. Bottom of the order loads them up for OU. And Clifton has reached all 3 times she's come up. Another one high and tight on the chin strap. And Rachel Lawson will call time too to come out to talk with Tatum. Walk to Mendez, the single by Flores, a walk to Lyons to load them up.
And again, that mentality as a reliever, when you come in, you've got to be able to locate your pitches. You have to be able to throw at that velocity. The hitters, their 2nd, 3rd, 4th time through the lineup. Issuing free passes is a recipe for disaster.
Mendez, Flores, Lyons on the bases. Kaylee Clifton at the plate. Off speed is in for a strike. This is that high, 2-1.
Well, those are non-competitive pitches. Those pitches are so far out of the zone that CC, there's no way that you're going to fool her. She's going to try to attack that pitch. You might get some freshmen and younger athletes to go after those pitches, but seniors are typically pretty disciplined by this point in their career, especially with the bases loaded.
Ball 4, and that'll walk in a run. 3rd free pass of the inning. Five to 1 Sooners. And the 8-run rule is in effect, and Jocelyn Allo can end it with 1 swing. doing my math up here, counting people base run. 1, 2,
Got
okay.
fingers, 1,
6,
2,
7, 8, yet 9.
pinky, middle finger.
Allo would be
ring finger.
9. And the 8-run rule in effect. And a deep breath from Tatum Spangler. Into the dirt. Coming home is Flores and sliding in safely. 6-1. Other runners will move up 60 feet.
Wild pitch gets past Kowalik, new pitcher, new catcher.
Allo with 2 in scoring position. Still nobody out here in the bottom of the 6th. Another one gets away from Kowalik. Another run in for the Sooners as Lyons scores. Clifton over to third. And things have come apart here for the Cats.
Well, when your opponent's going to score on you, you know, it's one thing if they're bashing it and scoring on their own, but when you're giving it to them, those are the things I'm sure the coach is going to go back and really want to adjust this young Wildcat team.
Gets the change in. 2-1. A 3-run 3rd inning, another run in the 4th, and now a 3-run 6th inning for OU. Check foul.
Well, Allo doing a good job of refocusing. As a hitter, sometimes it is hard when pitches are not competitive and all of a sudden, you know, they're out of the zone, then all of a sudden there's 2 in the zone. It's important as a hitter to stay locked in and really focusing on every pitch that's coming at you.
Full count.
Again, great patience. Doesn't even bite at a pitch that's a little bit closer to the zone. Sometimes big hitters want to do that. They see that pitch close to the zone and they'll chase it.
The eyes of Allo. Called strike 3. Second time she's been caught looking. 1 down.
Well, this is what we're talking about. Non-competitive pitches, and then all of a sudden there's one in the zone, and that's a pitch she needs to attack. She can hit that. It's a little bit of a surprise that she doesn't go after that. You can see a little bit of uncomfortable the way she walks through the batter's box.
Romero, who's got a 3-run home run already tonight, will have another opportunity here, 0-1.
You know, and back to Allo, I think what happens on that too, Beth, is that as an athlete, you're looking and you're thinking rise ball, but the 2 pitches she was fooled on were the off speeds. You know, she was kind of checking them off of her bat, so I think there was a little hesitation. And that's where that effectively wildness can come in to play for a pitcher at times, and it can be tough on hitters.
And quickly ahead, 0-2 on Romero. Romero rifles one inside the line. Another run scores, and Romero now set up as the game winner out at second base.
That ball just blasted down the line. The way she steps in the bucket, gets a pitch on the inside corner and just turns on it, rifles it right past Abby Cheek. Gets that ball down the line. Great bend on it, but a lot of it is just the ability of Romero to attack inside pitches, no hesitation, just unloads on it.
Got another pitching change here as Megan Shorman will come on for Tatum Spangler.
Wildcats, number 26, Megan Shorman.
Mariah Lopez, her numbers today, she is our defensive MVP, brought to you by Wilson. 77 pitches, 5 1/3 innings, 4K, and just the 2 hits allowed.
Well, there's 2 hits allowed in the first inning. She bounces back using her curveball or rise ball, mixing speeds, the off speed, just dumping down in the zone. And when it does that, it's so hard to pick up, but her ability to locate pitches is what made Mariah Lopez so effective this afternoon.
Big day for Lopez as well as Sydney Romero. 4 RBI for Sydney, a 3-run home run, and now the RBI double for the senior out at second base. If the Sooners get her home, they will run rule Kentucky, and it's over. Megan Shorman will try and prevent that from happening, the 3rd Wildcat pitcher of the day, and the righty freshman will try and get the Cats another at-bat in the 7th. Fale View, 3 groundouts today. Trying to end it with 1 swing, 0-2 out of the zone. Back up the middle. Romero rounding third, headed for home. The throw to the plate, not in time. And the Sooners get the run rule win over Kentucky. And a game-winning RBI for Fale. Excuse me, game-ending RBI for Fale.
The final score of the Oklahoma Sooners, 9.
The seniors through the middle of the lineup for Oklahoma, just doing a lot of damage. Fale View 0 for 3 with a bunch of ground outs, and not to be denied in this last at-bat. Takes a pitch right back up the middle on an 0-2 count. Excellent hitting for the senior. Scores her senior teammate Romero for the Sooners walk-off run rule victory.